In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how we turn this into this in under 45 days using just cold email. No ad spend, no cold calling, just email. And by the end of this masterclass, you'll know exactly how to do it yourself. But before I show you how, let me show you why this even works, because most people are sleeping on email completely. 61% of people check their email multiple times a day. 20% of people check it multiple times an hour. That's not far off from how often people check social media. And here's the part that really matters for us in real estate. It's not just younger people. Email usage is 90% for people 15 to 24, and it's actually higher, 93.6% for people 25 to 44. And even in the 65 plus bracket, it's still 84.1%. So think about who you're actually trying to reach in this business. Homeowners, sellers, people who are often older, who own property and check email constantly. This is exactly the platform that reaches them. So quick reason why you should listen to me on this specifically is I've personally done over 100 wholesale deals. I've purchased multiple real estate properties for my own personal portfolio, and I now run an email agency that sends over 100,000 emails plus a month for us and our clients. So when I tell you that we turned $1,000 into a $30,000 check, that is not hypothetical. That is a real campaign we ran in Houston in the last 30 to 45 days. This training has taken us months to do, and it's all for free. And we're seeing a ton of real estate influencers begin to talk about this marketing channel, and honestly, most of them are doing it completely wrong. So please guys, as a thank you to our team, like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the masterclass. So welcome to the Cold Email Masterclass. We're gonna be covering a ton of different topics from A to Z. We're gonna talk about list building, how to set up your infrastructure, how to set up campaigns within an email sequencer, how to avoid spam, what Spintax is, and then at the end we'll talk about AI and how we can use AI in Claude to help us write and manage our email campaigns. But our whole goal is to take a complete beginner today and make them able to launch their own campaign at the end of this. And this is going to be extremely long hours of training, so bookmark this video in case you do have to come back. But what you're gonna walk away with, guys, is you're gonna learn how to send infrastructure that actually lands inside someone's inbox. And then we're going to teach you guys how to build a list narrow enough that your copy can actually resonate with the homeowner and seller and actually speak to it. Okay, step number 3, an offer and a sequence that's going to earn you replies, not opens. And we're going to talk about why replies specifically later. And the last step is a way to scale it that doesn't burn everything that you built, because building a cold email infrastructure does take time and it does take skill. So module 1 is why are we doing cold email, and does it work, and does it do all these different things? And we're going to show you. It's going to be awesome. So no other channel in the years of real estate and the years of wholesaling and owning a marketing agency, no other marketing channel has seen these type of stats where you can launch a campaign with $100 a month software that can send you 9,000 emails a month, and it takes 0 extra employees or staff. Cold calling needs a ton of cold callers, VAs, overseas guys. Paid ads, obviously you need a budget. You need your 5 to 10K a month that you need to spend ads on. And that never stops. You have to continuously send and pay for ads or else you lose all your leads. But cold email, honestly, guys, is the only channel where the cost per conversion keeps falling as you get better at it. Because your list gets built bigger, your email copy gets better, you start converting more, and the pricing of email doesn't really change. It just depends on how many email boxes you're actually using. And we'll talk about all the infrastructure and costs. And honestly, we talked about in the intro, people just live in their inbox. 61% of people check their email multiple times a day, and 20% check it multiple times an hour. I know for me, I check my email all the freaking time. And it is not like, if you compare it to social media and how much people check social media, people check emails almost as much as people get on social media. So this isn't a young person channel either. And your primary demographic is probably people between 25 and 64 that need to sell their property. And as you can see, 93.6% of people 25 to 44 open and use email. And then people from 45 to 64, it is a 90.1% that they check email. Even senior citizens check email, guys. Okay, Martha Stewart, all the old folks, they check their email. And that's the huge thing about cold email, is everyone uses it, okay? So 4 things that people believe that just aren't true. That cold email is dead. And the reason why people think cold email is dead is because filters got better, just like phone carriers, right? If you text someone a spam word, the phone carrier actually blocks it. Same thing with emails. Things have just gotten more sophisticated. So the bar and the standards goes up. But that's all that's changed. If you know after this course, after this masterclass today, you're going to understand how to get over those hurdles so you can actually deliver cold email. Next one, it's spam. Spam is irrelevant mail sent at volume, okay? If you have a relevant offer, if you have value to provide to that homeowner, and when you send that offer to the right person, it's going to actually deliver and actually help that seller, and they're not going to mark you as spam. Number 3, you need volume. In email, you have the ability to send tremendous amounts of volume. However, if you have a targeted ICP, and if we're talking about real estate, we're talking about foreclosures, probates, whatever type of lead type you're messaging to, you don't need to send 10,000 emails to those people. You can send a 3 to 5 email sequence to that specific lead type that's relevant to them, and it's going to print way more results for you. Number 4, it's super technical. And yeah, there's some technical pieces to it, but the technical part of cold email is just the recipe. And it's the easiest pillar to get right. You just have to follow a step-by-step process, which we're gonna break down for you today. So when cold email doesn't work, it's the setup. It's not the actual marketing channel, it's the actual infrastructure and the setup you're doing. You're either doing the wrong lists, you're not verifying your emails, you have cold mailboxes that haven't warmed up, you're writing just generic Claude AI, ChatGPT copy, and every failure traces back to one of these 4 things that we just mentioned. All right, module 3, we're gonna do a deep dive on the technical setup, and we're gonna do play-by-play, step-by-step breakdowns of actually how to set up your infrastructure. So before we go, the golden rule, the cardinal sin, is sending email from your main business account, because we never ever do that. And what you want to do is you want to buy lookalike secondary domains to send. And the reason why is because if one of these domains get burned on the spam list or blacklist, you still have your main domain to actually do your actual day-to-day business. So example of this would be, our business is Top Gap Homes, and we would buy secondary domains that say Top Gap Home Solutions or Top Gap Home Buyers, something like that, where it is kind of our brand, but also not our actual business domain, so we can keep our main operations going without any issues. So step 1 is you want to buy a domain through a registrar. And these are examples of registrars down below, where it's Namecheap, GoDaddy, or Dynadot. There are many other registrars out there, but we personally use Dynadot because it's got a really cool API that you can actually connect with Claude Code with, and we can actually buy some of our domains automated through Claude, which is really, really cool. Step 2 is you need somewhere to actually host the domain so you can actually post it on the internet. And a lot of these registrars actually allow you to host your domains on there, but we recommend Cloudflare because there are a lot of security things involving with it. It helps you mask your IP. So all these email service providers, when they're looking for spam-like emails, they can't exactly track where you're coming from or how many domains you actually own as a business, right? Because it actually flags them as a red flag if you own multiple domains at once. And the best part is you can host multiple domains on one free Cloudflare account. You should never ever pay Cloudflare to host a website. Now, when you're actually buying your domains and naming them, this is the do's and don'ts, right? You want to name your company as similar, as more professional as possible, because remember, these emails are going to homeowners, they're going to real people. And what you don't want to do is have a business name that looks really spammy. Brand name -offer/2026, that looks absolutely insane. And actually ESPs or email service providers actually track these type of domain names and are more likely to be marked as spam versus a more professional one. So best case practices for each domain that you purchase, we recommend that you build a landing page for each of these companies. And what you want to do is you actually want to redirect all of those separate landing pages into your main domain. So if you guys are sending lead magnets or sending a book call feature once someone replies, it will actually go to your main website that's connected to your CRM, like Go High Level or something like that. So if somebody actually searches one of your new domains on the website and it takes you to that 404 error page, they're automatically going to think you're a scammer or a weird, unprofessional person, and they're not going to want to do business with you. And also, we're going to talk about it in a little bit later of this video, why it's so important to actually have those landing pages so you can track who's actually clicking, so that you can actually retarget those people with ads or other sort of marketing channels to get them to want to opt in and actually speak to you. So this is Dynadot. So this is one of the registrars that we personally use, and we're going to teach you guys how to actually purchase domains through Dynadot, and it's pretty freaking easy. So as you go through here, you'll log in obviously here, and you'll go into register. So you can actually search what domain you actually want to purchase. So let's say we're looking at my company here. This is TopGap Homes, and you can actually search what's available in here. So you can see right here, topgaphomes.co is available, and we can just add it to cart. And you can see topgaphomes.org, that's already taken. This is our actual website, that's already taken. But you can kind of see like all these different types of businesses, right? So let's go with TopGap Home Solutions and see what comes up. You just search these different things. So TopGap Solutions, topgaphomesolutions.co, add it to your domain here. topgaphomesolutions.org, let's add it. So these are usually annual. So when you buy domains, usually you're gonna buy the domain for the year, and it's always the cheapest when you buy it for the first time. Now, what you want to consider, what you need to actually make sure of, so you don't get hit with big fees down the road, is actually seeing what the renewal cost is going to be once the year is up. So right now it's $8 to buy a domain, but it can actually cost you $15 to $20 once that year is up. And that's all up to you on what you want to do. But this is how you purchase domains through Dynadot. And it would be the same across all the other registrars, right? GoDaddy, Namecheap, you can search these different domains and you can purchase it from here. So this is the actual checkout page. So before you actually check out and buy your domains, make sure that you're not buying any of the add-ons or bonuses. These are completely unnecessary. You don't need to buy domain privacy. You don't need to do any of this stuff. You're gonna just buy the actual domains, check out, and then you'll be able to see all of your purchased domains inside your Dynadot. Okay, once you purchase your domains through Dynadot, now we're going to transfer your Dynadot domain onto Cloudflare. So you're going to log into Cloudflare, you're going to make a free account. Remember, you do not need to spend any money on Cloudflare. So you're gonna log in, and then you're going to go to the left-hand side to domains, and you're gonna click overview here. Once you get the overview, you'll see all the different domains under your account. So what's cool about Cloudflare is you can add multiple domains under one main account. And as you can see here, we have multiple domains for RE Inbox, and I just purchased one off Dynadot, so we're gonna add that one specifically. So once you're ready to add a domain, on the top right side, you'll see add domain. Okay, once you get to the page, you'll see these three different options. You'll see connect a domain, transfer the domain, and also buy a domain. We're just going to do a connect. So we just bought a domain and we're going to connect it. You're going to paste your domain name inside this box, and then you're going to go down this aisle here and you see import DNS automatic. Just click continue, and it's going to run this query here, and it will try to sell you a different plan here. Remember, you guys can just stick to the free plan, all good. Great, so you're going to see all these DNS records. So when you log into a new domain and you go into Cloudflare, this is what we mean by DNS records, and we're going to fill all of the DNS records later, step by step, but we're just going to transfer from Dynadot into Cloudflare. So let's continue to reactivation, and you will see that we have name servers, okay? Name servers are unique to all of our accounts, and this is how we tell the internet where domains are going to be hosted, okay? It's all run through name servers, and what we need to do is actually copy our name servers on Cloudflare and replace it on Dynadot. So let's copy this, and I'll show you how to do it on Dynadot. Okay, so this is what Dynadot looks like after you purchase a domain, and we're going to go to reinboxmarketing.org, our brand new domain that we purchased, and we're going to scroll down here, and you're gonna see Dynadot DNS settings. So we're gonna click on this button here, and then we're going to go down this menu and click on name servers. So as you can see, these are the new places where we can host. Let's paste the first one. Let's go back to the second name server name and go back to Dynadot and paste the second one. And then we're gonna click save name server. And now we're gonna go back to Cloudflare and actually verify. And this could take some time, but we'll see that it's actually doing a propagation where it's actually reading the internet to see if it's actually matching the name server names. So after reading this, it says it could typically take up to 1 to 2 hours after you do this swap. Sometimes it can take up to 24 hours depending on the registrar you're using, But as you can see, it's pending right now. We'll scroll down. It's matching the name servers, and then we'll check back when it's complete. Now that this new domain belongs in Cloudflare, we can actually do all of our DNS settings from here. Once we pick our provider, which is our email company, we're going to go with Google. I'll show you how to do that as well, and then we'll add all the DNS records onto Cloudflare. Okay, now the fun part's here. We're going to do a live DNS record setup right now for you. So like I said earlier in the video, we were going to purchase a Google domain. So we are logged into our Google admin page. And once you're logged in, you'll see our inbox and we'll see that we have 8 active domains inside our account. We're going to scroll down here to domains here. We're going to click manage domains, and then you'll see all of the domains that we currently own inside our actual account. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a domain right now. So we're going to click this, and now we're on this page where we have to paste our domain name inside the admin portal. Okay, so it says verify your own reinboxmarketing.org. Once we verify ownership, you can start using Google Workspace and apps. Start by using Gmail with your domain. So let's get started here. Okay, now it says let's set up your domain. You can just read all this stuff. Let's click get started. As you can see, it says sign to Cloudflare. So that means that what we did earlier by changing the name servers actually reflects now, and Google's actually showing us that it's in Cloudflare. So that's good news. So we're going to click sign into Cloudflare and let it roll. All right, we're in Cloudflare. Let's authorize. And then now it's going to run, and I'll come back when it goes live. Okay, now we're good to go. Let's activate Gmail. Let's continue. And now we're in. So we have all these different emails here. We can always add a user. So let's just proceed with activation. This is when we were going to add different mailboxes. This is your opportunity to do so. This is where you're going to get charged every single month based off how many emails you build. We're not going to add another one for this. We don't have to pay for it. But yes, this is how you would add different mailboxes for your domain. So let's say you have reinboxmarketing.org. Let's say it's Tim at reinboxmarketing.org. The next one could be Sally and Emma. We're going to just create multiple mailboxes, and that's how you scale the amount of emails or email accounts inside a domain. So let's just proceed with activation. Okay, now we're actually going to start building the DNS records and MX records, all these different things inside Cloudflare. So you can see that there's a name value. It says set the default priority 1, and then your mail server SMTP.Google, and then TTL, which is the amount of time it takes to propagate when you do an update. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually see how easy this could be. We're going to click on go to Cloudflare and see what the options are. Let's go to dashboard. This is not taking me directly to where we need to go. So we're going to manually go through. We're going to click on the domain. We're going to go on the left-hand side. We're going to click on DNS, and then we're going to click on records. So now we are on the DNS page, and we're going to click add record here. So if we go back to Google, it'll say that it's an MX record, okay? So we're going to go to type, and then we're going to scroll down to MX, and usually it'll say name is default, and if it's a default, we will put an @ sign, and that will usually just have your domain name as the root, all good. And we go back to Google, it says your mail server is smtp.google. We just click copy, go back here, paste it. Now we have the mail server, and then it also said the priority should be 1, and then it said the lowest possible TTL, which is 1 minute. So it should take about a minute to propagate once we hit save. So boom, we've added the MX record, and then now we're going to go back to Google, and we're actually going to say come here that we've confirmed it, and then now we're going to hit the button and go. Okay, now it's verifying. It says Gmail is ready, and we can start sending emails after 24 hours. So as we see down here, it'll say authenticate outgoing emails. We're going to click this button because it's going to work on an additional DNS record for your DKIM. And what we're going to do is we're going to just stick for the 2048, and we're going to generate a key here. Once we generate a key, we're going to go back to Cloudflare again. So if you guys are starting to catch on what we need to do, we're going to take all this information, we're going to go back to Cloudflare and actually build out the new DNS record. So it says what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste the key in a DNS text record. So if we go back to Cloudflare, we're going to add a record, and we're going to add a TXT. So if we scroll down here, we'll see, well, TXT. and then we're going to fill in the box here. So the name is going to be Google domain key. We're going to take that and we're going to paste it here. And then we're going to go back. We're going to copy the content here. And then we're going to paste the content in this box. Next, your TTL, we're going to select 1 minute again because it's the quickest one. We're going to click save. Okay, now since we have the DKIM records, now we're going to do our SPF and DMARC. So we're going to go to a free website called easydmarc.com, as you can see right here. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to click on tools and we're going to do a SPF record generator here. And we're going to stick to a very generic build here. But what we need to do is actually add our domain name in here. So let's copy paste our inbox marketing.org. And we're going to click generate. Okay, everything looks good. This is a brand new email account, so it's going to come out all wonky, but it does say the record status is valid. And when you look at the host name and if it says your actual domain, when you go into Cloudflare, it's just going to be an @ sign. So it's telling us right now that we need to do a txt file again. So let's go back to Cloudflare. Let's add a record. Let's do txt down here. Let's put this in here, and then let's go back to here and then add in the value. So this will actually create the SPF record for us. Boom, we've added the SPF. Now we have one more to do before we are fully set up on DNS records. Let's go back to easydmarc.com. Let's go back to tools, and then we're going to do a DMARC record generator. So we already have our domain in here. This is what I recommend your policy type to be quarantine. I don't want to get into the weeds. I don't want to get into the science here, but this is what we recommend to set up. What you do need to have is an actual email address to send aggregate reports to, but there is a way to turn off all of the reports, and I'll show you guys in a second. So as we scroll down here, we're going to click on advanced configuration. And then we're actually going to click on failure reporting options to 0 so you don't get any of the emails. And now we're going to hit generate a DMARC record. You don't need to do anything else. And let's see what it spits out here. Okay, now we have the DMARC, and what we're going to do is you can see that it's dmarc.reinboxmarketing.org. When you actually paste this in Cloudflare, it's just going to be the DMARC. So let's say we're going to copy this whole thing. We'll go to Cloudflare. It is a txt record, so let's scroll down, find it, and then as you can see, I pasted it originally, but what you're going to do is you have to actually erase all of it to just show DMARC, or it's not going to work. Let's paste, and then let's go to 1 minute, and now we have all 3 DNS records set up inside your Cloudflare. All right, the great debate of which email service provider you should use, Google, Microsoft, SMTP. We're going to break down all of them. We're going to show the pros and cons of each so you can make the best decision for yourself. But we're going to share our recommendations at the end of this module so we can make sure that you guys are set up for success. So if you guys are just beginning, the big highlight is we want you to start on Google. And the reason why is it's got a great reputation. It's got a great IP pool. And also it's shown to have the best deliverability. Now things change every single year. You know, as you're watching this video, it could be 2027, 2028, and Google is absolutely trash. So you have to make sure that you're always staying on top of what's going on with the email service providers and how deliverability is doing across the actual channel. So we're going to cover some key important information here. So you've probably heard me say ESP quite a few times throughout the training, and it means email service provider. So I want to cover the 3 main bullets under here. So what is a trusted ESP? That means a sending IP that you're using is highly trusted, and a highly trusted IP means you're going to have way better deliverability versus a IP that's just generic. Number 2, the ESP is the one that is in charge of keeping that IP clean, not you. So these are the guys like Google and Microsoft. These large companies are in charge of managing their own IPs. So basically, if one of their IPs gets flagged or blacklisted, they have a huge team that manages to swap it out, to change it out. It is in their best interest to make sure that their IP pools are clean. So that's why we recommend using one of the big 3, right? With Microsoft and Google, those are the most reputable companies right now. And obviously Google has the highest deliverability. Number 3, ESPs also receive emails. So obviously, if I'm using a Gmail and you send me an email, my ESP has to receive that email. So they are the ultimate deciding factor of if an email comes in or not. And who do you think that they let in? So let's do a deep dive on Google. Most Google mailboxes cost between $8 and 40 cents per mailbox. So if you went to go on Google right now and buy a mailbox, it would cost about $8 a month. Now, resellers like us who get major discounts because we purchase domains and mailboxes at bulk, our average cost is about $3 per month. And that's why we have a service where we actually set up your domains, purchase your mailboxes, and we get paid for that because we actually pass a discount to our users. Now with Google Workspace, setting up is super easy. As you can see in the live demo, we use a Google account to set up DNS records, and it's super easy to do. It helps you, it recommends things, it lets you go straight to the domain hosting site like Cloudflare. Also historically, after doing a ton of inbox placement tests, because our company is an agency, we have multiple clients sending hundreds and thousands of emails per month, we always have to do inbox placements. And Google has a 87.2 inbox placement, highest of any provider in 2025. So out of all the ESPs right now, Google is truly the best for deliverability. Now, most service businesses are on Google, okay? So most SMBs are on Google. So what we want to do is we want to try to match the ESP with our client. And remember what I said about real estate, most of the people that we're contacting are normal people, everyday homeowners, and most of them use Gmail. So this is another big reason why we want to flex using Gmail accounts. Okay, number 2 is Microsoft. So Microsoft is significantly cheaper than buying domains off of Google. Now you can actually purchase Outlook emails through GoDaddy because they do have a domain partnership where you can actually buy mailboxes for $4 a month. And I've seen crazier discounts on the resale side where we can actually purchase mailboxes from Outlook for like less than $1 a month. M365 is just like Gmail. It is a standard hosted mailbox where you have an account, you can log in, and you have a physical inbox that you can view. And this is not like a big thing for you to worry about right now, it's just starting, but actually Microsoft has pretty advanced things where you can create a single domain and have 100 mailboxes under one domain with a cap limit of 2 emails per day. So that's pretty cool, in my opinion, for $50 a month. Now, a lot of agencies actually offer this offer for you where they can set up a one domain 100 mailbox system, but just understand that having this set up, you're not going to be able to email 10, 20,000 people. You're going to be capped at 2 emails per day per mailbox. Now, the biggest thing about Microsoft Outlook is this. So we can see a 75.6 inbox placement test score compared to Google's 85. So that is a significant amount of difference, especially with cold email volume. So if you're sending 30,000, 50,000 emails, that 10% is massive. And also, one thing of note, so I know we said in the previous parts of the training, and a lot of cold email coaches and agency owners say you want to try to match ESPs to ESPs. It has been proven in current tests right now to this day that Google actually delivers at a higher rate to Microsoft than Microsoft emailing Microsoft. So this is why we truly recommend Google if you're starting out. It's easy to use and has the highest delivery rate right now. Okay, here's the fun part, because a lot of agencies, a lot of these coaching programs, a lot of these people that are setting up email marketing for people is using SMTP. And the reason why SMTP is being used so much is because it is so freaking cheap. So SMTP means a simple mail transfer protocol. This is the language email is delivered in. So this is like the code, this is like all the gizmos and gadgets where you are sending email without a structured email pipeline like Gmail and Outlook. So the thing is, you can get as little as $1 per mailbox, okay? There's a couple different companies that I'll show you, like Inframail and Mailin, that actually helps you set this up. It is super cheap. Simple automated setup. There's no per seat license. There's no actual inbox. Like, you can't physically log into a mailbox and check your mail. It is all designed for cold email. Now, the biggest risk right here, it is an unmanaged IP reputation. So remember what I talked about in the very beginning of the training and talking about Google and Microsoft, that they actually manage their own IP. This is your own dedicated IP. So basically, when you buy a domain from these companies, you're in charge of the reputation. So basically, you would buy a domain from these guys, and then you would buy all of your mailboxes and you would warm up your own IP pool. If your IP gets burned because you're the one in charge of this, all of the work and all of the money that you spent is going to go to waste because your whole IP infrastructure is getting flagged and blacklisted. So this is one of the key things I talked about of trying to save some money or trying to make a shortcut because you didn't want to spend $5, $6 a month. You wanted to spend $1 a month, and now your entire cold email marketing system is destroyed. So the big warning, the big issue that we've seen with SMTP is you're buying a IP reputation from scratch, right? You're going to get an IP dedicated to you. It's going to be neither good or bad, right? It's completely neutral. So when people are ramping up their email campaigns, we've actually seen people crush off an SMTP campaign because it's pretty neutral. But then it starts getting marked as spam. People start yelling at you. You don't have that protected layer like you have with Google or Outlook. And when that reputation gets hit just a little bit, your whole sending domain and your whole infrastructure is going to collapse. We've seen it 100 times. If you're using SMTP, especially an unmanaged one, you have to do it very safely and you have to know what you're doing like we do, right? So we actually use SMTPs. We actually purchase SMTPs ourselves, but we can trust ourselves to kind of manage this at a very high level. So I'll give you guys some examples of how these unmanaged IP infrastructure SMTPs are built. So as you can see here, this is InfraMail. This is $129 a month, which is really, really cheap for all this infrastructure. But as you can see, it is one dedicated US IP ready to go. So if you pay $130 a month, you get one single IP address, okay? In this IP address, you have unlimited email boxes, okay? You have a one-on-one support, all these different things, and you can send 80,000 emails a month off $130. So this is absolutely insane. This is like not normal. And the thing is, like, yes, the price is amazing. You'll never get an offer like this anywhere else, but you have one dedicated IP that you physically have to manage and they won't do it. So this would actually crush you if you're going to get marked as spam, which 99% of people who do this do. Next, Mail-In. This is another company, SMTP. As you can see here, they've raised their prices, which is really good. So it's $300 a month. You're going to get recommended 2 to 5 inboxes per domain. Includes 200 email accounts per month, and then you also have a dedicated server IP. So this is also extremely cheap compared to building your own infrastructure, because SMTP is like pennies on the dollar, right? But remember, it is a domain IP address that you have to manage yourself. So if you're wondering if there's SMTP companies that exist that manage IPs, and they do. There's a company called Mission Inbox. This is obviously the more pricier of SMTP email companies. This costs about $5 per mailbox. Mission Inbox actually is in charge of managing and maintaining your IP. So if you go through a company like them, and I'll show you right here. So this is Mission Inbox's pricing. So you can go with a $50 a month light program, which is 15 mailboxes, 5K per month emails, a dedicated IP address that they manage, or you can scale up to $200 a month. You have 30 mailboxes and you can send up to $10,000 a month every single month. And like I said, same thing, they manage the IP for you. Now, if you're using a company like Mission Inbox or an SMTP service that's managed, you're going to have less deliverability, right? So deliverability still trails Google. It is slightly worse placement for the similar price. So this is why I'm kind of saying, like, if you are on the fence of saving $1 or $2 a month, you might as well just go with Google, because it's better delivery, better reputation, and you don't have to play the game of, oh, what if I get blacklisted? Okay, so here's our recommendation. This is what we actually run. Number 1, Google Mailboxes, hands down the best placement out of any provider. Now, we do own Microsoft, we do SMTP, but we own dozens of domains, and we own like 10, I think we own about 50 to 60 mailboxes right now. So we're all about diversifying our inboxes right now. But if you guys are starting out, the core product should be Google. Okay, number 2 is the name on your email account actually, right? So for me, a founder name would be Tim. That's my name. So it'd be Tim@TopGapHomes or Tim@TopGapSolutions.com. Or you pick an easy white girl name. If you're going to make up names, don't pick like old white dude names. Like, we have tested this at scale where white girl names actually crush. So when someone sends an email and it's Emma or it's Charlotte, something like that, read rates go super high up, reply rates go super high up. And if you think about in the real estate space, there's a lot of homeowners that are older men that rather talk to a girl rather than talking to a dude named Tim. So that's just stats. Number 3, we want to set 5 mailboxes per domain. That is the max, right? We actually set up 3 to 5, but 5 is the actual cap. You should not go higher than that. Next, as you guys are ramping up your emails, we actually recommend ramping up your campaigns to 20 a day for a while. The less is better, to be honest. Like if you have a ton of mailboxes and you're only sending 10 a day every single day, that's actually a better ramp up. But once you max out everything and you're at the 30-day, 45-day mark of sending emails, you can actually crank it up to 25 to 30 emails per day every single day. Now, eventually, once your domains are aged, you have good reputation, your campaigns are doing well. So if your campaigns are doing bad, you obviously do not want to scale the amount of emails you're sending. So if you're getting a lot of good replies, your deliverability rate's good, your inbox placements are checked out, you can eventually scale your email marketing to 50 emails per day every single day, like per mailbox. Now, that thing is, it takes weeks, guys. It's not instant. And a lot of you guys, the reason why people get crushed in cold email is because they're constantly rushing. Like they want to buy a mailbox and immediately start sending, but that's not the way to do it, guys. So take it slow, ramp it up, and then you guys will be crushing. So congratulations, you now know how to buy domains, you now know how to set up DNS records the correct way, you now know how to pick providers and purchase your mailboxes and start the warm-up process. Now, if you don't want to do this yourself, and you also want to save yourself money every single month by utilizing our discounts for mailboxes and domains, our team and our company can actually set that up for you. And I'll put the link down below, but the website is called reinbox.org/infrastructure, and we can actually purchase domains for you. We can buy your mailboxes, and then we can also set everything up and load it inside your instantly. And what you would do is once you get to the website here, you will select what type of mailbox you want. And based off the training that you just had, you kind of understand how it's all broken down. And let's say we're going to start off with Google Mailboxes. Instead of paying the $8.40 per mailbox, we charge $5 because we have that discount for you. And all you need to do is set up your infrastructure and how many mailboxes you want. Our recommendation is if you are just starting out, you can start off with 10 inboxes. But if you are a more experienced investor and you want to send a little bit more volume, the standard build that we recommend is at least 20 to 25 mailboxes. And as you can see here, it will be $125 a month to purchase 25 mailboxes. And that would be your marketing dollar spend every single month as you guys are scaling your cold email. And also, I do want to let you know that there is a 1-year annual fee that you have to pay for your domains. As mentioned in the training, I think on average, it's about $12 to $15 per domain if you want us to purchase it for you. So once you figure out how many mailboxes you want to purchase and what type of infrastructure you want, all you would do is press this button right here, fill out your information, make the payment. You'll receive a notification from us that we are actively working on your domain purchases. It usually takes 24 to 48 hours to purchase all your domains and your mailboxes. And then you will have an option to either give us your Instantly account if you have one, or 2, if you don't have one, we can also set up your Instantly account for you as well. Once that's all done, we're going to import all of your brand new mailboxes inside Instantly for you to start the warm-up process. During that whole span, we're going to set up all the warm-up features, all the setup functions, all that stuff. Just let us know if you want us to write your copy. There is an additional fee for that, and we'll give you that option when you go to the checkout page. Okay, now we're talking about the stack or the softwares that you need to be able to implement your domains and mailboxes to warm up everything and ultimately send out all of your emails so you can generate leads and ultimately make some freaking money. So before you pick an email sequencer, this is the most common software you need for cold email. These are the 7 things to compare it to. 1 is pricing structure. Every single company charges you differently. Most of the big companies actually use a per contact. And what I mean by that is when you pull records from a real estate software company, let's say you pull 10,000 records, each record would be a contact. So depending on what plans you're buying, they're going to say, hey, you can only pay or you can only upload 5,000 contacts on this payment plan. And that's how most of these companies are charging. Next, you want to look at the quality of warm-up. A lot of these email sequencers have email warm-up features. And a lot of it is sometimes it's phooey, sometimes it's like legit. There's a couple of the bigger companies that have really good reputation with warm-ups, and that's because they have a ton of seeds. And what seeds are, these are pre-purchased, pre-warmed up
emails. They have tens of thousands of them stored where they can actually email each other. And that's basically how you conduct a warm-up, is they have AI that's managing all these inboxes, and they're all emailing each other, reading each other's emails, and opening, and all these different things. Next, it's clients versus personal use, right? So Instantly and a lot of other companies have workspaces where you can have multiple accounts within one. We're an agency, so we run multiple clients at a time. So we actually like certain softwares that allow us to have multiple workspaces. API. So as the age of AI and integration, the newer companies have APIs where you can actually directly tie leads from Instantly or whatever email sequencer you're using straight to your CRM, and vice versa. So if you're using legacy ones, I wouldn't use the older softwares that don't have APIs or webhooks. It's an absolute necessity now in 2026. Next, you want to look at deliverability feature. Does it allow you to rotate your emails? Does it allow you to do send gaps, which if you're jumping from campaign to campaign, does it allow you to set delays so you're not emailing multiple campaigns at the same time? Does it allow you to have inbox placement testing? Next, if you're using a email sequencer and you're using it for the data, because a lot of these companies do sell you B2B data, this is not good for real estate investing because most of us are using B2C. And a lot of these cold email data sellers only focus on B2B and companies. Last you want to look at is how they're managing all of the different mailboxes in your system. The software that we're going to recommend has a really cool feature called Unibox, which actually focuses all of your mailbox into one place. So all of your responses, all of the emails you're receiving, you don't need to manage 50 separate mailboxes. You can have one page, which is called Unibox. Okay, this is not sponsored today, guys, but these are the major players in cold email sequencers. And the first one is Instantly. You've heard me talk about it in all my content. You've heard me talk about it on social media. This is truly the best company right now. It's the strongest warm-up. It's got the coolest Unibox. It's managing everything for us. We have over 20 clients all on Instantly right now. Like, we are telling you guys it is the best software right now. Now, if you don't want to use Instantly, that's A-okay. Smart Lead is a close second right now, but it's better if you're managing a lot of people and a lot of sub accounts. So if you're running a solo operation, which most of you are, I recommend Instantly because it's super user friendly. Now, if you're running an agency like us where we're managing multiple clients at a time, Smart Lead is very good for that type of feature as well. Reach Inbox and Apollo.io, these are also big companies in the cold email space, but it's missing a lot of the core features that make Instantly and Smart Lead really good for cold emailing at scale specifically. So you're probably wondering why you're paying money for an email sequencer if you have the domains, if you have all the mailboxes. Why do you have to pay an additional software to manage this? And this is the reason why. Number one is warm-ups. You cannot run warm-ups yourself. The reason why is because you don't have the same amount of emails that these companies have. We can't even run our own warm-ups yet. We have only 50 mailboxes. These companies have tens of thousands of emails over time. Rotations. Without an email sequencer, you would have to manually manage all of your mailboxes. You would have to control the sending limits. You'd have to do all of these different settings, which is a pain in the butt. It is well worth paying the $100 a month to have a software that does everything itself. What these email sequencers are also doing is what they do is they randomize each email send every single day. So basically, if you're sending 20 emails a day per mailbox, it's not going to send all the emails in the same hour. It's going to space them out at random times to simulate that it's a real person typing up an email. It's simulating different times. It's simulating different speeds of sending emails. It's all built out to trick the ESPs to be a human. So number 3 is the Unibox again, and I'm stressing how important this is because I personally don't want to manage 50 separate mailboxes. I want to do everything in one. Last but not least, the most important one is your sequencing, right? This is the whole point of an email sequencer software, so you can send multiple emails on automation so you don't have to manage it yourself. Can you imagine sending 10,000 emails and you have to do a 3 email sequence, and then you have to spread it out across 50 mailboxes, and you have to do this every freaking day and every freaking month? No cold email agency would survive. So this is why it's super important to use software like this. I can't imagine running a cold email agency without the sequencing feature inside the software. So now the fun, we're going to do a live Instantly walkthrough so we can show you exactly what to do, exactly how to set up your Instantly software so you can start emailing leads in the next couple weeks. All right, now we're doing a live walkthrough of Instantly. We're gonna show you how to use it, how to set it up, all the cool features of why it makes Instantly the best email sequencer in the industry right now. So we are right now, if you look at the left-hand side of this website here, you'll see that we are in the navigation bar. You do not have to worry about the top 3 buttons right now. Right now we are currently in email accounts, where this is where all of your email accounts will be held inside Instantly. This is also where the warm-up phase is going to take place within Instantly. But before I show you all the warm-up features, if you go to the top right, you can see the Add New button. So if you were just starting off in Instantly, you have to go here. You're gonna click this button. You'll see Pre-Warmed, Done For You Email Setup, and Connect Existing Accounts. If you've done everything in this course like we instructed you to, you will be using Connect Existing Accounts. The reason why we don't recommend you using the Done For You setup is that it's super convenient, guys. If you want to just get started as fast as possible, this is the route to go. You'll be paying about $5 to $6 a month per mailbox. But the problem is Instantly wants to keep you on the platform always. So if you buy domains or if you buy email accounts from Instantly, as soon as you stop paying Instantly, you lose access to everything. So you are renting all your inboxes, you are renting your domains. Instantly owns everything. So that is the biggest risk in terms of doing the Done For You setup. And that is also why we preach the entire course to buy your own domains, buy your own mailboxes, so that you can just transfer everything inside here. And if you decide to leave Instantly and go to another company like Smarter Leads or Smarter Contact, you can actually take all your mailboxes with you. Okay, so now we're back to the email side. If you click on one of these emails here, so if you click on it, you can actually see the different options you have, and you can see the different warm-ups that these guys are going through. So you can see in the last week, this email specifically has done 85 emails, 75 warm-ups sent, and also there's 0 that was saved from spam. And you can redo all the different options and settings. As you can see the name, you can send the daily campaign limit. So when your emails are fully warmed up, I recommend doing probably 20 to 30 emails per day, every single day. And I do not want you to creep up past that. Now, when you guys are doing a brand new launch, I do recommend you enable the campaign slow ramp. So let's say that your limit is 20 a day. If you do not have that button checked, it's going to send 20 emails a day as soon as you launch. And if you click that button, it will send 1 email more every single day. So like day 1 will be 1 email, day 2 will be 2 emails, and it's going to work its way up all the way. Okay. As you scroll down this list here, you will see that you can control the actual warm-up limit. So you can do 1 a day. It increases by 1 a day every day. This is what I recommend. And then you always want to match your daily warm-up limit to what your email inbox limit is going to be. So if you want to send 20 emails a day eventually, then you want to get your warm-up to 20 emails a day. You want to match it as best as possible to what your actual campaigns are going to look like. For automatic reply rate during the warm-up phase, I like anything over 90%. And as you go down to the actual advanced warm-up settings, if you're paying for hypergrowth at $97, you could do weekend only. You can do read emulation. So basically, the AI will actually open your emails and actually take time to simulate it reading. And then these are the open rate, spam protection, and mark important metrics that we recommend doing. Okay, next, we're going to go to the left side. We're going to click the little arrow here, and this will take you to the campaigns. And as you can see, we do practice what we preach. We have individual campaigns for each lead type in the industry. So HOA lien, delinquent tax, probate, and as you can see on the stats here, you'll have varying stats depending on what type of lead sources you're using, also the type of copy you're writing. So as you can see with HOA liens, we only sent 300, but out of those 300, we had 5 people reply and 4 people were actually positive engagements that wanted to speak to us. When you go down to foreclosure, actually let's go down to probate, we sent 3,000 emails, 67 people replied, and 9 of those people were positive. So probate historically, we've done not as good, right? A lot of these folks don't want to sell their property, but as you can see, there's a 7.27% reply rate. So the emails that we're writing are delivering. That just proves that they're delivering, and people are actually responding. I mean, 9 people, that's 9 leads that we didn't have before, and it's just super cheap to actually generate these leads. If you click on one of these campaigns here, let's go down here that's active. You'll click on the campaign and you'll see the actual detailed stats of the actual campaign. So when you look at individual campaigns, you can start seeing the A/B testing. So A/B testing is basically testing different subject lines, different email copy to see what is performing the best. If you click on bounces, you can actually see the historic bounces of this campaign in the last 7 days. And we've sent 324 unique sequences out, and there was only 6 total bounces because remember, we always want to verify all of our lists, and this actually gives you a full breakdown of why this is actually happening. And as you can see, that one email ended up being a spam or reputation block, and you can actually see in detail what exactly it was. So once you go into leads, this is where you can actually load new leads into each individual campaign. So as you can see here on the right side, you can see add leads. Once you click this button, you can literally just upload a CSV file and it will literally load all of your leads into the individual campaign that you're assigning to. This is also where you're going to have the custom values, where you can have the property address, the first name, where you can actually personalize the email based off the data that you provided. Once you click sequences, these are the actual sequences that you can write inside your Instantly campaigns. And you can do A/B testing, you can do multiple steps. Our usual SOP is if you're doing a cold email sequence for the first time, you're going to email them 3 times throughout the week, and then you'll recycle them 3 to 6 months down the road. But this is where you can actually write subject lines, you can write the actual body of the email, you can add A/B testing by clicking add variant. This is how you can test different copy and variations. What's really cool about this as well is if you are starting a new step and you do not have a subject line. So if I take this subject line out, basically when this email, the step 2 happens, if you do not have a subject line, it will end up emailing that person in the same thread. If you have a new subject line in step 2, it's going to start a whole new thread. So this is a little bit like of advanced techniques on Instantly and what you can do because it's so freaking cool that it can do this. Okay, next we're going to click on the Unibox. This is where you're actually going to see all of your different emails and responses. So if you have 50 mailboxes that you own and they're all on Instantly, no human would want to manage all 50 emails in separate accounts, separate passwords. Instantly connects every single one inside the system here. And what it does is if people are responding, it will all come into one single Unibox where you can actually see what's going on. And it's really, really cool. And when you click on a name here, obviously I'm blocking out a lot of stuff for privacy reasons. You can actually see the email thread that goes all the way down from the first time you emailed them and when they actually responded. So this is a pretty cool feature. Next, when you click on analytics, this will show your overall campaigns for your whole workspace. So this is your giant workspace versus an individual campaign. The next thing that you want to look at is your inbox placements. So this actually costs additional money per month with Instantly. I think it costs about $47 a month to do this. But what we do is if we do need to do inbox placements, we do it. We do inbox placements at least once a week. If you don't want to do it or you don't want to go through that tedious process, it is good practice to do inbox placements at least once a month. It is super detailed. It will give you a breakdown of the overall deliverability of your mailboxes and your domain reputations. And there could be some situation where maybe one of your domains got hit on a spam list like Serble. And what we've seen is over time, even though that domain was hit with Serble, deliverability is still good. We do want to manage that domain a little bit more. We want to watch it a little bit more to see if that deliverability drops. So maybe we'll run an inbox placement test every few days on that and see how it's going. If we do see something on a spam list, we usually ramp down the emails per day just to make sure that we don't get it blacklisted for good. So you're going to click on the little button here and you'll click on settings. You'll end up in this page. This is where you can see your integrations, your billing, all these different plans that's available inside Instantly. If you go to your integrations, this is where you can actually link this to your Go High Level or CRM. You want to do it through API keys. So as you can see, we have tons of API keys here that connects to our Claude, that connects to Go High Level. This is where you would actually build this out. If you go to advanced deliverability, this is exactly what I would do. So AI lead filtering, unlikely to reply, I would probably say skip or send to last. And then any hostile prospects, I would obviously skip. So these are advanced deliverability settings that you can have if you're paying for the hypergrowth plan. This is just way easier to do and to make sure that they're on. As you go down to deliverability optimization, what we want to do is we want to disable open tracking. So basically, you want to turn off open tracking across your campaigns, because at the end of the day, if people are responding to your email, that means it's actually getting delivered. When you're tracking open tracking, right? When you're tracking this statistic or KPI, it's leaving a code on your emails that actually increase the likelihood of getting marked as spam. Next, what you want to turn on is always send first email as text only. I do recommend this as well, because when you are sending cold email, any links, any images, anything that's not traditional text, it also raises red flags to be marked as spam. You can send links as soon as someone responds to you. If someone responds to you, you have the green light to send them resources, you have the green light to send them a lead magnet, but not when you're sending initial cold traffic. Okay, now we're talking about deliverability and how to actually land in the inbox instead of spam every single time. So 8 factors decide whether you're going to land in spam or land in the inbox. And number 1 is your DNS configurations, which we've already knocked that out. You should be good to go. Number 2 is your age of your domains. The older that your domains are, the better reputation that it's going to have. Versus a brand new domain, that's why we tell you not to send a ton of emails the first day that you have your domain. Number 3 is the actual reputation of your domain. So the quickest way to get sent to the spam list or blacklist list is someone marking you as spam when you send emails. And as you go through the different layers of cold email, each section actually has reputation. So number 4, mailbox IP reputation. If you guys remember the very intro of the training, that's like Google, Microsoft, these big companies that manage their IP. So if you're using a Google Workspace email account, you're using Google's individual own IP address. Number 5 is mailbox sender reputation. So each individual mailbox actually has reputation as well. If a certain mailbox that you're using is getting marked as spam a lot, it does affect your domain too, but it doesn't affect it as much as the individual mailbox. So what happens is usually mailboxes get sent to spam or they get hit on a blacklist. You can always take that mailbox out of the rotation and just buy another one and replace it. So there are different blacklists across the internet right now. There are domain and IP blacklists, and each one can vary on the significance of your email infrastructure. We're going to go through a few of the major big ones as we go through the deliverability module, but some don't actually affect you. Some can actually destroy you, but we'll find out more as we keep going. Number 7 is your email copy. So just like the cell phone companies like Verizon and Sprint, ESPs are reading every single email that gets sent from your inbox. And what it's looking for is looking for malicious code. Maybe there's a piece of the email that flags as spam. Usually it's the actual word. So maybe it's flagging by fast cash offers, sell your home fast. This can come off as a scam. So actually ESPs can pick up those wordings and detect you as spam. The next thing about copy is the lack of use of Spintax, and we'll talk more in detail of what Spintax is in the email copywriting section of this course. And last but not least, number 8, email objects. What is email objects? These are all links inside your emails. These are images in your emails. When you are sending cold email, you do not want to add any email objects in the first email. Once they reply to you, you should be good to go, but you never want to incorporate these things inside your cold sequences. And I do want to highlight the sentence in the very bottom. As you can see, 6 of the 8 are infrastructure issues, right? Your DNS, domain age, all your sender reputation and IP addresses. The only things that you can physically control is your email copy and not having email objects within your cold sends. So as you guys are warming up, this is absolutely mandatory to warm up all of your domains and warm up your mailboxes. And this is what we kind of do. So we do a slow ramp, just like the instantly walkthrough. We want to do 2 a day, and we want to increase those emails every single day. What you want to eventually hit is your daily warm-ups for your emails are doing 50 a day. That means these things have been That means these emails have been going for at least 20 plus days inside instantly. And then what you want to do is the reply rate instantly suggests 30%. Let's ignore that. It's at least 90% for all the replies. And then once you actually launch your email campaigns, you want to leave your warm-ups on even after your launch. The consistent warming, the consistent replies, and the consistent pulling your emails out of spam that Instantly does for you increases your reputation and increases your deliverability over time. Now, we've covered this before. To increase your deliverability and the reputation of your domains and to protect the long-term health is we verify every single email address before we send it through the Instantly campaign. So what you want to do is you want to use zero bounce, million verifier. You can pay for the credits, you can verify the emails, protect your domains at all costs. And once that's done, you load it into the sequencer and you can fire it off. And these are what these verifiers actually catch. They're catching old and deactivated mailboxes. They're looking for addresses that are likely to mark you as spam. And then also they track potential spam traps. So there are literally email companies and email addresses they have just looking for people like us to send cold email to. And what they want to do is they want to make sure that you're violating the rules, violating the laws, and then they're going to try to sue you. So verifying your emails are super important because a lot of these companies actually get caught in the email verification process, so we don't even email them to begin with. Now, assuming you followed all of the steps and all the recommendations we've made, these are the 4 things that are still in your control to make sure your deliverability stays high. Number 1 is spam complaints. This is the fastest way to lose reputation. And usually this is the wrong list. Maybe you have the wrong offer and you're sending just way too many emails that don't fit that ICP. You're going to get sent to spam. Number 2, good warm up. So you want to make sure that you're warming up your emails before you launch at least 14 to 30 days. And then once you launch your campaigns, you want to make sure that warm up process is continuously going. Number 3, we're talking about copy with Spintax. So Spintax, if you're using Instantly, it actually has the ability to randomize the copy inside your emails for you. So our email sequences have 3 random words spread out throughout the entire campaign. And then actually when you're sending out your email campaigns, Instantly will randomly select those words inside the email. So you're never sending the same email over and over again. Because what happens is ESPs are actually looking for same words, same patterns, same, cadences, all that stuff that makes it more robotic and automated. That's what catches you in spam. So if you're changing up your words with Spintax, you're actually increasing your chance of getting delivered to the inbox. Last but not least, I know it's not really in your control, but it's your domain age, right? So once you buy the domain, we recommend that you wait for at least 30 days before you send anything out of those domains. So how do you know if you're actually going to spam? Number 1, we don't track open rates. And if you are just starting out in cold email, you should never ever track open rates because the pixel that's being used to track open rates hurts your email reputation more than the actual status worth its gold. And the reason why is because we track everything through replies. If you're getting a lot of replies, regardless of it being positive or not, that obviously means that your emails are getting delivered to someone's inbox where they can actually read it and then mark you as spam. So in the end of the day, reply rates is actually the better way to track if someone's actually hitting the inbox or going to your spam list. So before we go through number 2 and number 3, which is email health score and inbox placement testing, I'm going to show you what the biggest mistake a lot of people do in cold email is that they look at the email health score inside Instantly, which never really tells an accurate picture. We're in our marketing accounts emails, and basically what you can see here is you can see overall health score of your domains. And what health score really is on Instantly is basically how many emails you've sent, how many people have marked you as spam, and that overall hurts your health score. Now the health score is very surface level. For instance, if you look at goreinbox.com, it is 100% health score. But if I actually put goreinbox.com through an inbox placement test, it could tell a completely different story. So this is the inbox placement tab inside Instantly. Guys, this is one of the best features in Instantly. It does cost extra money, but it's money well spent, especially if you're running cold email traffic. So this is how you do an inbox placement inside Instantly. I think it costs about $47 a month to do this, but I'm going to walk you through how to do a deliverability test right now, step by step. So once you go to the inbox placement, you're going to click on add new, and let's do a test, right? This is a cold email masterclass example. So we all know that this is a test. And what you're going to do is you're going to do an automated one which is what we're paying for. So as you can see here, you need the $97 a month inbox placement to do the automated one. Once you're in, you're going to open up the menu here. You'll see that it's North America, US Professional, Google, Outlook. This is obviously, we are real estate investors, so we want to get the personal ones. So let's knock out the personal Google. And then as you can see, these are the different spam filters that instantly will check. And once you hit continue, what's really cool about this is you can literally add every single mailbox that you have inside here. You can do one, you can do multiple. I personally recommend adding all of them, especially if you're doing a first time send. The next part is you actually can use actual email copy that you've actually written and sending to consumers with selecting which campaign you want to use. And this is super important, guys, because why would you want to do test placements with randomized emails? You want to test with the campaigns that you're actually sending to make sure that your emails aren't causing you to go to spam. And then you can also pick different variants of whatever the campaign is, doesn't really matter. You can actually view the copy for your experience. You can actually read it to see what's going on. And then what I do is I always do delivery optimization because I want to simulate exactly how it's going to be when I send these emails out. Timing, you can select, whatever timing, this doesn't really matter. Let's do 9 a.m. We'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we won't do the weekends. And then what we'll do is we'll send it one by one, and then you can add different automations, and then you just hit launch. So basically what happens is it will drip out these emails over time, just like my actual sequence. And I want to see how these results actually work. And I'll show you exactly on what it looks like on a previously completed test. So we did a domain test. The reason why we did this test specifically is because this domain was reported on a spam block list. And we wanted to make sure that it wasn't actually hurting the actual sends because we didn't want to kill this domain yet. We just warmed it up. It was a brand new domain that we had, and it got hit with Serval. But as you can see, we sent about 275 test emails, and it had a 100% inbox placement test. It did not show up on spam anywhere, and it shows you deliverability insights. So it had 0 spam filter. This is the actual email copy. So when it's talking about spam filter score, it's talking about reading your actual copy to see if any red flags popped up. And then we just go down here. There's definitely room for growth, which is really cool. So if you guys are on the hypergrowth inbox plan, you can actually have an automation to have the AI automate and fix your copy to optimize it. So your content quality score is good, but subject line score, room for growth, and you can actually see the details here. It says that the subject line is straightforward, but lacks specificity, right? So it's actually coaching you and telling you what you should do to actually increase deliverability and potentially get more results just over time. Now, Instantly's inbox placement tests are really awesome, but there is one extra inbox placement tool that is probably the best of the best, but it does cost money. So before we get into email verification softwares, I'm going to talk to you about why it's important to even verify in the first place. Now think about sending a letter. If you write a handwritten letter and you send it to the mail, but it's the wrong mailing address, the post office sends you back that mail. That is essentially what a bounced email is. And there's 2 different types of bouncing. There's a hard bounce and a soft bounce. The hard bounces are what actually kills you, right? This is the stuff that actually affects your reputation. And a soft bounce is usually temporary and it's usually fine. So these are examples of mailboxes full, maybe the server's down. That's if you're not using Google or Microsoft. Usually those other domains with bad IPs get bounced. Maybe your message is too long, and maybe it's just your first contact, you're messaging them, you got gray listed. And a few of these issues are normal. Now, if you go back to the hard bounces, these are things where the email address doesn't actually exist, or maybe that the domain that you're sending to is completely dead. Maybe the mailbox just doesn't exist anymore. Maybe there's just a typo, right? So these are hard bounces. Now, there's something that people actually don't think about that's super, super important when it comes to bouncing, is that you may have the best list in the world. You've also verified and reskipped it, and you're emailing it, and your emails are still freaking bouncing, and you're like, what the heck? Why is this bouncing? The thing that people don't consider is maybe the message that you have in there is getting marked as spam. So the actual copy, the actual stuff that you write can actually get flagged by the ESP, and it will cause you to hard bounce as well. Able to use GlockApps 2 times a month for free, and this is the most in-depth inbox placement test, and I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. So when you log into GlockApps, this is free for the first 2 every month. You're going to start a manual test, and as you can see, it has all of the spam filters, and I don't really care about Europe. I don't really care about Asia or Russia. I want to focus on the North American personal and business accounts. And then we're going to leave all the spam filters checked, and we're going to click next. This is all optional here. We're going to keep going here. Check links in this email. We don't really need to do that, but we're going to create this right here. And then you're going to get all of this information here. These are all test email mailboxes that we're going to copy and paste. And what you want to do is when you send this email, you're going to use this copy ID to actually help GlockApps identify what your email is. Okay, I'm going to copy all these emails, and then I'm going to start a new email here. I'm going to paste all these email tests here. I'm going to write test, and I'm going to say this is a test. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go back to the code. You're going to copy this ID string. You're going to paste it, and then we're going to hit send. Now this is going to take some time, so we're going to go back to the email here, and then we're going to click report. It's going to be a little too soon because as it loads, it's going to send all of your emails, and then it's going to load the actual results here. Okay, as you can see now, it sent all the emails, and it gave me a 76.6% inbox and a 23.4% spam. So that's okay, guys. You don't need to hit 100%. We're going to do the analysis. This is actually my personal business account, so this is like my real domain. So what I need to do is actually kind of break this down and see what's exactly wrong for us. So it will tell you your IP analytics. So this will show you that I sent from a Gmail account. Everything looks good, right? This is actually Google's job to fix. So if I am marked as spam on one of these Google IPs, it is actually Google's job to fix this. So I'm not too concerned about it. It looks clean across the board. Then you can see your DNS records. My IP is not marked as spam either. As we go down here, it actually tells you if there's any block list that we're on. Right now, we are not on any block list, so we're good to go here. And then we're looking at the overall spam filters of all the different spam companies, so Google, Microsoft, Barracuda, all saying that I'm not spam and I'm not fishy. And then my email copy scored well below 1, which is positive. Now, as you go down here, your email deliverability port, this is going to show you what is exactly. Now, most of my emails, 90% of emails for US business hit the inbox and 10% went to spam. Majority was 1 email for AT&T, and then we also had 1 email from a Google Workspace 4 years ago. I'm a little bit more concerned that I popped up on a spam list for Google Workspace versus anything all, but it says that this is a soft fail, so I'm not necessarily too concerned. The vast majority of my emails went through. I need to figure out why my emails are going to soft fails because I want to make sure that my deliverability is super good for Gmails. And then as you can see at the very bottom, I'm getting marked as spam as a perm error for a bunch of Yahoos. So this just kind of tells you that based off my personal email, maybe I've pissed off a lot of Yahoo accounts as I send emails out, and a lot of Yahoo users are marking me as spam. Who knows? But this is just a key example of how in-depth your inbox placement test can be, and it can actually tell you what exactly is wrong with your emails, and then you can actually identify the issue, and then so you can fix it. Now, I'm going to show you a website called warmy.io. This is definitely overkill for cold email. Like, I don't recommend you using it. It is extremely expensive. But we actually use Warmy.io for our main business domain. So topgaphomes.com, my new breed investors, RE Inbox, we pay the premium dollars to maintain a warmed email domain from Warmy. So it gives you insane analytics of how your emails are performing in live time. So when you send out email campaigns or messages, it's actually going to tell you exactly what's wrong. Now, the thing is with Warmy and why it's so expensive and why it's important to have it on your main domain, if you have an email list of people that have opted in, now this is completely different from cold email, but if you do have a warm audience list, that domain that's like you're sending like promotions and sales and YouTube videos and you're trying to make money off your email, it is very worth it to have Warmy to continue to monitor your deliverability, because if you're sending everything to spam for that aspect, you're not making any money and you're just wasting that email list. Now, what happens if you actually are in spam or you're getting blacklisted? What's a way to actually fix it? So step number one is you're going to pull that mailbox out of every campaign you're sending. And you're going to do that for at least 2 to 4 weeks. You're going to put it on ice. Once you pull out that campaign, you're going to leave it on a warm-up status only. You're not going to cold email with it during this time. You're going to consistently warm it up, have the AI responders reply to it, and also pull any bad emails out of spam. Number 3, after your 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to run a placement test on that specific domain. If it's still bad, you're going to have to wait again. So what I would do is I would wait another 2 to 4 weeks before you run another inbox test, and then you can kind of make a decision on what's next. All right, so you've heard me talk about verifying your list, and you're probably wondering, what do I even mean? And basically what this is you're going to take a list of your emails and dump it into a verification software. And what this company does is they have thousands of email accounts sitting in storage, and they send test emails to every email on your list. And basically what it does, it will figure out if the email is actually active, if there is likely to be marking as spam. So if the user itself has been marking a lot of people in spam, they will pop up on this list as well. Another thing is what they test is your email going to a full inbox? Because if the email box is full, your email ultimately can't get delivered. And when all of these things add up and compound, this hurts your deliverability over time. And Zero Bounce is one of the companies that we personally use, and they're super affordable, and the pricing just makes sense. And these guys have helped us lower our overall bounce rates to under 2% in all of our campaigns, which is amazing. So let me show you how to do it. On the left-hand side, you're going to click on email validation. You're going to click on validate. You have 2 choices. You can do individual email validation, which you're probably not going to do. For individual email validation, we actually use this for all of our web funnels. And basically, if someone puts in a fake email, Zero Bounce will detect that and won't allow someone to actually opt into our funnels. Next, you're going to do the add an entire list. So you're going to validate a new list. You're going to click it. And then you're going to drop an entire CSV Excel document into this, and you're going to upload it, and then it's going to do the full verification process over the course of a couple of minutes. And what's going to happen is you'll see this. So we just uploaded a list of 1,300 emails, okay? And it told us that 70% were valid. So over 30% of this list was invalid, and that would have destroyed your email reputation over time. And what's really cool is you can see that the detailed breakdown that this website actually gives you, it'll tell you exactly who's valid, 953. It'll tell you what catch-all is, and catch-all, we'll talk about it later. It is extremely bad to have catch-alls. Next, you have 346 invalid. So these are emails that aren't even active anymore. So you're just sending into an empty email box that does absolutely nothing for you. This list is not bad. There's no spam traps, which is good. And then it's also shown that 51 people were known to be abusers. Okay, so these people, when people fall under abuse, that means these people are likely to mark you as spam. So if you have these in your list, do not email them, because they are known to mark you as spam if they receive cold emails. Then there's unknown emails, number 4, and then there's a do not mail list as well. There is like a DNC list for emails as well, and this company actually catches it. Now, if you click on the explain results, it'll give you some AI explanation of what each thing actually is in case you don't know. So as you go here, as we said here, invalid emails, failed validation due to syntax errors or non-existent domains. So you're sending emails to like a black hole. Abuse emails, 51 emails are addressed as flagged because they appear on global suppression lists or are associated with users known to trigger spam complaints. So obviously do not email these people. Next, unknown emails, 4 addresses remain unverified due to temporary network timeouts or a lack of server response. This is a potential that maybe the email wasn't working on their end, maybe the software wasn't catching it. I would just pull them out if the list is small. Next, you have a do not mail. This is just legal stuff. So if someone is appearing on the do not mail list, just don't email them. It's just not worth getting in trouble over, especially if someone took the time and effort to actually get listed on this website. Okay. Gold recipients, you can upgrade this account on Zero Bounce to get gold recipients. You don't really need to do this. You can just pay for the actual credits and then actually verify your emails before you load them into Instantly. So now that you understand the technical side, the infrastructure, how to build it, how to set it up, now we need to get to the second layer of talking about how to build the right list and how to find the right person to send an email to so you can provide them value and then make some freaking money. So the narrower the list, the better this works, right? We've talked about this ad nauseum, but it is so important to figure out specific targeting. Sending out blasts or bulk emails doesn't really work. You have to make sure you find the right person so you can craft the right message for them so you can get them to respond. So a generic email doesn't hit the same as one that clearly gets their exact situation, right? That's pretty obvious. And you want to stack different filters to make the list super small and super enriched and targeted. So pre-foreclosure, maybe it was a probate, someone passed away, that person who owns the house hasn't paid the bills in a long time because they obviously passed away, and then they bought that property 20 years ago, so it's high equity. That is an insane list. If you can figure out 1,000 of those people and you get their right email and you know their exact situation, you can create the perfect message for that specific avatar and get them to respond and then get them on the phone to build rapport and get a deal done. Emails are way less invasive than text messaging. So if you can get the right message and someone sees that email, you have built so much rapport versus the wholesaler that's just texting blindly and making cold offers. So there are 3 ways to get a list. Number 1 is you can obviously go to a real estate data provider and you can actually buy the data. And data providers usually have filters so you can actually search certain parameters to your exact criteria. And then they also have a bunch of skip tracing services so that you can find the homeowner, the name, the email, and the phone number. Number 2 is you can actually enrich lists. So maybe that you have a name and an address list, you can actually go and try to scrape information from the internet and then you can enrich the data yourself. So if you just had names and an address, you can actually do a bunch of skip tracing yourself, or you can scrape the internet to find the person's email address and you can add it to your list. And then now that list is fully enriched and you can actually use it for a cold email. Last but not least, you can literally build a list yourself from scratch. You can go to public records. You can go to the county data. If you're in Texas like we are, Houston has some of the best county records in the game. We can find out who's getting divorced, who's ultimately passed away, how far the probate courts are going, and then all the foreclosure filings are public. So it is the slowest way to acquire data because you have to manually do it yourself. You have to potentially call the county records, or you have to go to the website and actually manually load all the different foreclosures, and you have to go through each docket to find out the address and who the owner is. And I want to tell you this very specifically because this is super important, that cheap data is the most expensive thing that you can buy. And the reason why is a bad list just doesn't waste your email sends. It will literally bounce when you send, it hits spam traps, and it just destroys your domain reputation. And you guys know, and you guys have already learned this, that setting up your email domains and mailboxes take a significant amount of time. And that time also costs you money. So the last thing you want to do is build this Ferrari. You're building this freaking European sports car, and then you're filling it with trash gas. That's basically what you're doing with cheap data. You want to make sure you're putting premium fuel in this sports car. Because at the end of the day, you can change lists every single day. You can literally send out an email list. You don't like it, you can go pull another batch of data, put it in the machine, and it's still going to go. But rebuilding your domain's reputation is going to take you months. So I'm going to show you 2 separate data companies that we personally use in our real estate business, and we've seen tremendous success across a lot of our clients. These data providers are specialized in 2 different things, so each one is different. The first one is datasyndicate.io. This is one of the best data providers in the real estate industry. Now, I will say that this is a lot pricier. So if you're not experienced, guys, if you don't have money to invest in marketing or good data, this is probably not for you. But what this company specifically does is, as you can see, there are many different counties here. They do it by the county because they specialize in courthouse niche data, and they have some of the best skip tracing softwares in the game. The emails, the contacts that they have from this data has been insane. So in Houston, we get all of the same day county records. So basically, if someone gets a divorce today, if someone goes through foreclosure today, I get that data tomorrow. And in the game of real estate, speed to lead is one of the most important things in the industry. But this data is costly, but it is worth it. You pay on a year subscription and you can pick your local county, or you can start scaling up as you make money. We personally do Texas. We get about 1,500 courthouse records every single month, and it's same day delivery. And then what we do is we instantly load it inside our pre-created campaigns in our Instantly account. The next company is Deal Machine, and the price does vary depending on what plan you're doing. But if you're just starting out and you want to get implemented in cold email, Deal Machine is about $99 a month, and you're able to pull out 10,000 records every single month, and it's actually skip trace. And what's cool about Deal Machine is it actually has emails included too. And the new features of Deal Machine is pretty sweet. So there's a bunch of new AI features that came out where you can actually type it in the chat like this. Like, I am looking for single family properties older than 1980 with 40% equity. And then you can actually add zip codes in these specific zip codes. And the AI will actually go through Deal Machine and actually create your list for you without you having to click all these different boxes. Because if you've never been in Deal Machine before, you can see that there's so many different things. You can look for property data, people data. There's tons of resources and guides to help you out. They also have a community to help you whatever issues you need. You can skip trace individual records, you can enrich data, and then it's got a pretty sweet API to actually feed information to whatever CRM you're using. We personally use Go High Level. If you guys aren't using Go High Level, you definitely should. We do have a 30-day trial down below, and we also pass out the snapshots to help you get started as well. Okay, now the hard part. We are talking about how to create an offer and how to write the copy that delivers and ultimately gets you paid. So the biggest thing, guys, the biggest disclaimer as we start this training today is no copy can rescue a terrible offer. So if you are skipping pillars and you are picking the wrong list, if you are just picking a generic broad data list for real estate homeowners, the offer and the copy is going to be extremely difficult to write, and you're probably going to get mediocre results. So copywriting for cold email is not normal copywriting, guys, because here's the number one thing is word choice matters. And you can write the best and most awesome email that can just hit someone right in the heart nerves and want to reply. But if you write one wrong word, that one wrong word can get flagged as spam and kill that entire email. So you have to be very careful with how you write and what words you're using. Number two with email copywriting is you don't want to sell. The whole job of cold email is to find out whether the person that you're emailing has a problem and that you have a potential solution for that person. Number three, guys, this is an obvious one, but I do need to talk about it, is cold means cold. These people that you're emailing, these homeowners that you're emailing, they do not know you. They do not trust you. They're also living their day-to-day lives, and they're not out there looking for you to solve their problem. So you need to understand when you're writing these emails that the whole end goal, the whole end game of this is to make it sound like the email that you're sending is that is coming from a friend. So this is the framework that we use to actually write our emails. It's called the triple tap framework. Number one is open. The whole goal is how to create subject lines that sparks curiosity, that speaks personalization to that homeowner where they actually want to read. Step two is the actual reading portion, the body of the email. Are you hitting the problem? What is the mechanism to solve that problem? And then how are you writing your credibility into this? You're also doing all of this within just a few sentences. Number three is the reply, a call to action that's so easy that it's just one word and doesn't require the actual person to think about it. This whole framework is 3 separate sections because this is how we want you to actually split your email as you are creating your email copy. Also, at the end of this, if you're writing copy in these 3 sections, you can actually test each section individually to figure out what's working and what's not working for you. So as we dive deeper in number one is getting the open is one actually inside a preview text. And if you don't know what a preview text is, when you read your emails, you'll see the big bold letters, which is the normal subject line, and then you can see the preview text line. If you don't put anything in a preview text line, it's usually going to be the first line of your email, but you can actually customize your preview text. And for us, essentially, it is the second hook. It is like the continuation of the subject line, and the preview line actually delivers more than the real subject line. Because at the end of the day, when you look at this, what does a person looking at their phone see when they look at their emails? They see the name of the person, they see the subject line, and they see the first line / preview. That is the whole snapshot that they have, and they're basing their whole decision to open that email with those 3 things. Number 2, what do you actually control? You control the subject line and you control the first sentence, and nothing else changes the ability of them opening the email or not. So you have 100% control of making sure that person opens that email. Number 3, how do you track open rates? So we've talked about this a few times in the course. We're telling you to leave the open rate tracking off and use reply rates as the proxy. So obviously if you're getting a 10%, 15% reply rate, you naturally know that your emails are delivering because they're opening the email to reply. Okay, the cardinal rule of a subject line is never signal the actual sale. Don't use spammy subject lines, or don't ask them in the subject line, are you taking an offer for your house? Because before they open it, if they know that a pitch is coming, they can just swipe, mark as spam, and not even open it. Number 2, no bait and switch. Do not use spammy subject lines in terms of your house is getting foreclosed tomorrow, because first off, that's a lie. You're literally destroying the whole point of cold email by building trust. You're actually destroying your trust. Also, if you are lying about certain things to get someone to open, that is actually a CAN spam violation, which is illegal. Number 3, questions to get open. So if you're testing a bunch of subject lines and you're not doing well, in reality, human nature is people love to answer questions. So if you have a question in the subject line, historically, that's going to perform the best. Back in the day, one of the best subject lines was question for Tim, ? Right? So literally it would say question for homeowner, question for Tim, ? That is the whole subject line. And if you're having issues with, your subject lines and open rates, throw that in there in your A/B testing and see how that performs. So here's an example of a live email that we have in one of our campaigns. So subject line, Tim, there are 10 options most homeowners never hear about. We're using a curiosity driven. So the number one thing that we do in subject lines is try to instill some sort of curiosity. Because if they're curious what the subject line is, or they're not sure exactly what you're talking about, they're more likely to actually open and read the email. And you can see that it's still personalized to the point where it's talking about some sort of foreclosure issue. And I'm saying, hey, there are some options that most people don't know. So they're like, wow, I kind of want to see what they're saying. So they open up that email and then it gets straight to the problem. So, hi, Tim. When a notice of default hits, most people assume their only choice is to wait and see what the bank does. We are literally hitting the problem statement right here on the head. So then how do we give them a solution? So we put together a short breakdown called 10 options to stop pre-foreclosure. Loan mod, repayment plans, selling before option, and even a few paths people usually don't hear about until it's too late. If you want it, reply guide and I'll send it to you. A very simple CTA. We hit the problem, we tell them how we solve it, and then we use the guide. Now, in the next email, what we usually do is we add some more proof and credibility. What I recommend moving forward, this is just one of our example A/B test emails, is to actually include some sort of credibility inside this email. So what does it look like when you're testing your campaigns, right? As you can see here, there's different steps, there's different A/B tests if you start adding different optimization keys, and you can see how many emails you've sent, what the open rate and what the reply rate is. Now, if you guys are more experienced, you guys will not be tracking the open rates at all, right? Because that pixel that we use in open rates actually hurts your deliverability, and you want to rank everything by your replies. Okay, so here's some examples of some emails and how the preview lines will work inside an email. So if you look at the first one, quick question about the house. That's the subject line, and then it hits the preview. Not sure if you're the right person, mind confirming. That's what they see in the opening part when they open up their phone. Let's look at the email from Sarah. Is this your property on Elm? Question, curiosity. Then we see the preview. Came across the listing and wanted to check with you first. So these are the continuation of the subject line and how you can write a story for that homeowner before they even open that email. So let's get to step number 2, which is reading the actual email. It has 2 jobs and you can do it in 3 sentences. So number 1 is problem and the mechanism of solving the problem. you have to identify the problem. As you saw in the last example, you got to hit it right in the head, right when they open the email, so they can understand what situation that they're in and what you're talking about. Then two, you need to understand the actual solution, and you have to drive that dagger into their heart. Next section, the trust and credibility portion. So you need to be very authentic. You're not trying to say that you've closed 1,000 deals, you've saved 100 people from foreclosure. An example of this, you have to have some creativity, is, hey, we built this guide after helping a dozen people in the same exact situation, and we want to give this to you for free. And then you can also add a link or an article down the road when they start replying that has a video testimonial or a case study that you have to build more and more proof as you start nurturing these leads. At the end of the day, these emails have to be short, punchy, and middle school language. Alex Hormozi always says that you want to have a 3rd to 5th grade reading level in these emails, and it's absolutely true. If you're using fancy words, if you're using very overwhelming grammar, they're not going to want to read the email. I personally don't like reading fancy emails. Neither do these homeowners. Okay, step 3 is the reply. And what you want to do is you want to make a CTA so simple where they can take their phone, type it with one hand, and type it in under 1 minute. So if you're telling someone to reply the word salad or whatever, it's going to be too complicated for them. So what we recommend is, you want me to send the number or you want me to send the guide, you want to say reply yes, sure, or send it. Just keep it super, super simple. You don't want to use fancy words. You just want them to be able to say, yes, I want it, and type it in with their one hand. Because remember, at the end of the day, guys, you are not trying to close the deal inside the email inbox. What you're trying to do is get a hand raise in the air and say that they're interested in something that you're offering. The sale happens after, when they get that resource, they build trust, and they actually want to talk to you about it. And then your sales process takes it over from there. As you're building out your copy and as you're testing emails, you want to test one tap at a time. The reason why you want to test each one individually is because if you're doing multiple changes with subject line, body, and CTA all at once, and metrics go super high or metrics go super down, you don't exactly know what exactly caused that change to happen. So if you were to just change subject lines alone and do an A/B test, and you see that your reply rate just absolutely tanked, then you know that the subject line itself that you changed caused that negative impact to your campaign. So I just want to kind of briefly talk about how email campaigns are set. One email is not a campaign. So most people who are doing cold email are either sending only one email and quitting, or they're sending just way too many cold emails in general. But what we've done, we've kind of broke it down into 3 to 4 cold emails per sequence as we start a cold email marketing campaign. Because in reality, most campaigns, most of the replies come from step 2 and 3. Sending one email is why people think this honestly just doesn't work. And here's some examples of how we do it. So step 1, we want to follow the full triple tap email. We want to give them a preview text, a body, a 1-word CTA. And then we wait a couple of days and we go into step 2. It's a 2-line email. We want to bump the thread, and we're not repitching. So we'll actually send a cold email within the same thread. And we've done a couple of A/B testings with a separate email thread or a same thread. We get way better results when we do a same thread. Now, step 3, we wait a couple of 3 more days. We want to reframe the offer once, just in one sentence, and then we'll actually pattern interrupt them and actually send them the lead magnet without them asking for it. Step 4, you'll wait another couple of days. We'll actually do the closeout email. Should I stop reaching out to you? We don't want to bother you. And actually, this thing crushes. It gets a ton of replies because, one, even if they say that they don't want you to reach out to them, they're still replying to your emails, which is the best thing to happen for your mailboxes and your domains. Number 2, they've actually want help, but they just didn't have enough time to respond, or they didn't have a chance to get back to you. Causing that urgency gets them to actually want to respond. And last but not least, closing out after a 3 to 4 email sequence actually saves your reputation over time. Because if you keep sending emails over and over and over again, and they're not even reading or they're not replying, that hurts your deliverability. Also, I would get absolutely pissed off if you sent me 8-9 emails in a freaking month. I'm going to definitely mark you as spam. And like I said, the very last part of this slide here, the replies compound, guys. A reply is the strongest signal a mailbox can send. Conversations buy you deliverability, and deliverability buys you more conversions. which is why a weak offer doesn't just underperform for you and you lose money. It quietly degrades at the infrastructure that you just spent months and months and months building, and it's really sad when your domains just go to spam. So I want to talk about Spintax and what it does and how it helps your deliverability over a long stretch of time. So Spintax is basically a system that can send randomized words and phrases on every cold email you send. So imagine if you sent this same email right here that I have on the screen. This email itself has Spintax already built in, and I'll explain what that is. But basically what happens is if I sent this same email to 1,000 people every single day for like 40 days, my deliverability would probably eventually tank. And the reason why is because email service providers are actually seeing that I'm sending the same subject line, I'm sending the same words over and over and over again, which gives red flags that I'm a cold emailer. So if you're using a company like Instantly, for example, this is why Instantly is one of the best. It actually has built-in syntax, where syntax, you can see that I put a random sign in here and then two different variations of the intro. So hi and hey. So let's just say I'm emailing a lady named Mallory. If I send 1,000 emails out, it will randomize hi and hey between each email I send. I'm also Spintaxing sentences. So as you can see here on this line, I work with, or I help, or I partner with, right? So you can see it in the preview. So I'm building all this Spintax in here, and you can click preview. And as you can see, it says, hi Mallory, I work with a small group of developers. Now let's hit it again. Hey Mallory, I partner with a small group of developers. So we are changing different parts of our copy, and we are having Instantly randomize our Spintax. It is super hard for an email service provider to see us as a spam because as we start emailing people, we also use Instantly's ability to spread out our emails over time and randomize when it's sending. Now you combine that with different versions of the copy. You could even do Spintax on your subject lines, where now they're seeing, okay, this person is emailing in a human-like cadence and a human-like time, but also they're changing that the emails are how they're being written. Even if you're using Spintax, you can even copy and paste the same email over and over again. It is all random. It is awesome. You need to incorporate Spintax. And then there's tons of free resources of a Spintax generator GPTs. We actually have that in our school community as well. Okay, now we're going to talk about replies and how to handle the replies and how to use Instantly AI to do everything inside the Unibox. So as you can see, we have tons of different emails in here. No matter how many emails you have, if you have 30, 50 email boxes, if they're all tied into Instantly, when you receive a reply, it'll go through the Unibox. So as you orient yourself to the Unibox, you can see all these different lightning colors. This is basically telling you the temperature check of the lead. Are they interested? Are they not interested? And Instantly AI actually does most of the work for you. Now, just a fun fact, it is AI doing this, so it is not 100% accurate. So you should check your stuff from time to time. But an example of this is the seller says no from their iPhone. Instantly AI instantly marked them as not interested. But you can also manually update it yourself if you find something that doesn't match. And you can make your custom labels here as well. Like for us, you can do guide sent, guide requested, whatever you want, you can customize it. Okay. Now let's go to a positive one. So as you can see, this is just like a normal inbox, and you should treat the Unibox like a normal Gmail account or whatever. You can see your previous threads, you can see all the conversations, you can see that somebody actually responded, and then we sent them the reply with the lead magnet. If you don't have an automation, if you don't have AI doing this for you like we do, you can actually manage your own inbox with reply, and you can actually type an email just like you would in real life. If you don't live on your computer like we do, you can actually download the Instantly mobile app, and you can actually reply and receive notifications on your mobile phone so you don't have to stay chained to your desk. Now, when a lead positively responds, you obviously want that lead to get pushed from Instantly to whatever CRM you're using. And we use Go High Level because it is super awesome to track leads. We also have a bunch of automations fully built out where when a lead goes into Go High Level, we will send automatic text messages, and when they respond, the AI takes over and has a conversation and tries to book a call. But if you're trying to integrate with Go High Level, let me show you guys how to do it. If you guys are on the hypergrowth $97 a month plan, you can go on the left hand side to click on automations. We're going to add a new automation here. So we're going to click this, and then we're going to make a new trigger. So obviously this is happening all through instantly. So then we're going to select a trigger event, and let's go through and see which one is good. As we go down here, lead replied, any positive custom label, let's go here, lead interest changed, right? So let's go continue. Let's select what campaign you're dealing with, and then let's go with interested leads. So anytime a lead is marked interested in whatever campaign you're using, that's what we're gonna pick. So we're gonna click continue. You can select a test record. You can select whoever you want. Let's test the step. Let's say this guy, let's test it. And then you'll get all of this data here. You're gonna click save, and then boom. Now you have your trigger. Now what you wanna do is you wanna click on the action that you want to do. So let's add an action here. So we can go down and find high level. So there's actually a MCP connector with high level, and you can actually connect it straight to high level. So once you connect it to go high level, you're going to have to log into your actual account. So we're gonna click add new, we're gonna click connect, and then we're going to log into our actual system, and I'll show you once I'm back into the go high level to see how we can build out the automation. Once you're logged in, you want to add a contact. So you want to create a contact into this workflow, and then once you do that, I would actually create another automation in here to also do a high level automation. And then what you want to do is you want to add a tag, or you can actually add them to a workflow. So what I would personally do is I would do a create contact automation, and then the next step would add that lead into the workflow, which what it would look like is this. So once a lead gets pushed instantly into go high level, we actually will add them into the instantly automation workflow that we've built, and then it will get initial text messages, but we'll send the text message to the owner of the property and say that we emailed them the guide. Do you want it to get sent to here? And then we ask them a quick question. If they respond with A, B, or C, then our AI automation will go off and start having a conversation and try to book a call. And obviously we have a bunch of follow-up sequences in case they don't message us. And then we also have a notification for our team to actually call this lead manually. So guys, the biggest thing that I want to talk about with email marketing is you're getting a positive response. You are getting a hand raise. We are going to do everything in our power to reach that seller outside of the email as well. Email should not be your only source of lead generation. We want to text them. We want to cold call them. If we have a bad number, we will email them back and say, what is a good number for you so we can reach you, right? The email is just one vehicle to reach them, but we have so many tools in our arsenal to be able to actually get the seller on the phone. So let's talk about scaling and when is the right appropriate time to scale your cold email marketing system. So before you scale, you want to make sure that you're hitting all three of these things around the head. If not, you need to go back and fix it, or else it's going to be a waste of time for you to actually fix this and clean it. Number one, placement tests. Are your placement tests coming out green for both Google and Microsoft? If all your emails are going to spam, obviously there's no point of scaling because you're just going to literally burn your domains. Number two, bounce rates. Are you getting under a 2% bounce rate on multiple lists? Not just one, multiple consistent lists, because that also tells you that you're pulling the right list, your cleaning process and SOPs are good to go, where you're actually catching a lot of these bad emails. So you want to make sure that your bounce rate is consistently getting under 2%. Last but not least, are people replying and booking calls with you? Because if nobody's replying, that means no one's reading it. That means it may not be delivering. And also, what's the point of scaling a campaign if you're not making money and booking calls? Scaling broken campaigns just buys you a ton of more problems instead of actually fixing them. So as you guys are getting more experience and you want to send more emails per day, the golden rule is that you need to buy more domains, not send more emails per day on every mailbox. We recommend emailing 25 a day, every single day per mailbox. You can scale that up to 50 a day if your domains are super old and have good reputation. But the good rule of thumb is to probably stay under 30 a day. If you want to increase the amount of emails, you do need to buy additional domains, because how we kind of set it up is each domain you purchase, you can buy an additional 3 to 5 mailboxes per domain. You want to name the domains the same way that you've been doing throughout the course, and you still need to warm up your domains like normal. So what we usually do is we have a bunch of domains that are sending, And then as we're getting ready to scale, we'll actually buy more domains and we'll keep them in the registrar for 30 days. And then we'll buy new additional mailboxes and then do a 2 to 3 warm up sequence again on those mailboxes. And as you guys are scaling up your email infrastructure, you always want to add in waves. You don't want to buy 50 domains and 100 mailboxes in one day, because if you do buy a bad batch, right, where Serble or another spam list actually detects that you bought 100 mailboxes in the same day, they can actually mark all 100 as spam at once. So what you do is you want to trickle out your purchases over a course of time. You're warming up your infrastructure. This is a long-term play versus a get-rich-quick scheme. Now, a good rule of thumb and good practice is to actually rotate your mailboxes. And what we do is as you build new mailboxes, you want to actually rotate those new boxes into the rotation, pull the older ones back, slow them down, because the volume comes from the breadth of your system, not the amount of pressure you're trying to force into it on day one. So this is the only math equation that you need to follow. These are the maximum numbers that you can send. So 25 per mailbox per day. That's usually the standard on a daily send for a mailbox. And then if you're adding 5 mailboxes to that, you're only pushing about 125 emails a day per domain. Next, if you buy 4 domains, you can send a cumulative number of 500 emails per day, every single day across those domains, which leads to 10,000 emails a month on 20 working days. And the reason why we're talking about working days is because historically cold emails don't really perform on the weekends, but we're talking like more B2B businesses. So to be honest, what we do is we also include Saturdays when we cold email B2C, so then our numbers actually tick up a little bit. As you can see, you know what your daily limit is for your emails and you know your daily limits for your domains. So based off those numbers, you have a sending limit goal. You have to work backwards to figure out how many domains and how many mailboxes you need to reach that number. So as you guys are scaling your cold email stack, you probably want to understand what the stack is and how much it costs. So let's start off with domains. This is an annual renewal fee, not a monthly fee like mailboxes are. So on average, domains cost about $12 to $15 per year every single year to maintain it. Number 2 is your mailboxes. So if you were to buy mailboxes from a reseller like us, it would be about $5 a month for a Google Workspace account, versus you going to the market and doing it yourself would cost you about $8.40 a month for each mailbox you purchase. Next is your email sequencer. This is like your email software company. So this is like your Instantly.ai, your Smart Lead, Email Bison. This is usually a flat fee depending on what plan you have. On average, most of you guys will be running the $97 a month plan. Okay, next is your verification. So you have 2 main companies that are really good for verification, which is your Million Verifier and your Zero Bounce. This is usually pennies per 1,000 skip tracing. You never want to skip this. Now, obviously, if you're sending a lot of emails and you're doing a lot of volume, this cost does go up because you're buying a lot of credits. But this is absolutely mandatory as you are planning out your budget. Next is your data. This is where we spend the most money in our marketing. So our entire marketing budget will probably be around $500 with the email boxes that we have, the domains, and the software we run. But most of our budget that goes into cold email is our data. And we spend around $500 to $600 a month in the best high quality data. So if you have that ability to afford that data, we do recommend you buy data from Data Syndicate. That's one of the data providers that we use. If you aren't on budget, you can spend about $100 a month with Deal Machine. That is more bulk data, but we want to focus on the most niche and narrow list possible, and that's why we invest a lot of money into it. I want to wrap this training up by talking about the future of cold email, because there's a lot of haters that say cold email is dead or cold outbound's dead, and I just want to share my opinion on this specific marketing channel over the next 10 years. And if you really think about it, a lot of people are wondering, is cold email dying? And it's honestly not even close. Because if you look at it, email is still the primary communication channel for all businesses. Nothing has replaced an email inbox. Now, has it gotten more difficult to send cold email at scale? Absolutely. Because there's AI that's being used to filter out all the emails that are getting sent out into the internet, looking for spam filters, looking for spam words. And here's the thing. There's AI that's being used to scan those emails, but you can also use that AI as it evolves to help you create better cold emails. And yes, Google and Microsoft know exactly what a cold email looks like. So that's why getting the technical infrastructure, learning how to write the right copy is going to be so much more important moving forward in writing cold email. Cold email honestly is only dead if you're a spammer, but it's not dead for anyone like us or the people watching this training right now to learn how to do it effectively. If you don't know how to adapt, you're definitely not going to survive the cold email changes in the future. I'm super excited for the future with AI, and there's so many cool things that are coming out in the future. Like the biggest thing is the autonomous BDR, which is essentially a AI setter that can pull your data, scrape your data, clean it, and then automatically write the creative campaign for that specific avatar. Now we're not there yet. I beta tested about 3 of these companies and all 3 of them have failed. It's not there yet with list building and filtering. Like you still have to do a lot of manual human work to actually review the list, make sure it's clean. And then also the email copy side, AI is just pulling whatever you give it. So the copy's just not there yet. It's not personalized to the point where we want it. That's where there's a human layer. Now, where we have implemented AI right now to this day in our company is we actually just have an AI conversation bot. So basically what it does, it reads the contact file of that lead, figures out if it's a foreclosure, probate, or divorce, and then it replies back in the same email thread within 5 minutes when someone replies. The most important thing about AI is not the automations, it's not the auto replies, but it's taking a ton of data that it would take weeks and months for humans to digest and figure out, is to take all that data and figure out true and better buying signals for your ICP. Imagine there was an AI that would literally scrub the internet on credit scores, any sort of code violations, any bad credit scores to tell me a predictive analysis of who is actually ready to sell, and then create the actual email copy to provide them value and target them, and then that's how we make a ton of money. Now, we are not there. So if you have a data provider that's telling you that they have data enriched AI data that's pulling all this metrics, it's BS, because in reality, it's not there yet. But I think in the next 10 years, we're going to get there and we're going to make a killing with cold email. So let's talk about these 6 predictions of 2030. Number 1, it is getting cheaper and cheaper to run cold email. Back when we started, it would cost you $20 per mailbox if you were to buy a cold email infrastructure. And now there's so many more companies out there like Instantly, Smarter Lead, all these companies that are making infrastructure building and sending way easier and way more affordable. But the most important thing is data. Data is the hardest thing in this industry across all industries of marketing and sales, is to find the cleanest data, the most accurate data to be able to market. And it's going to be cheaper and more accurate in 2030. So number 2, AI personalization at scale will improve. Right now, what we are currently doing is when somebody replies, we're using AI to actually scrub and pull data to help us customize a response in real time. Now it's shaky and it's hit or miss right now, but using AI when it improves over time is going to be incredible, and we'll be able to customize copy and lead magnets in real time. Next, AI is probably going to get cheaper. So we're going to be able to enrich with AI data with every single lead instead of our high priority ones. Right now, because it costs so many tokens and it costs so much money, we're only enriching the highest of quality ICP lists. So for us, an example would be foreclosure with high equity. Number 4, we kind of talked about the technology and the tech stacks changing and all merging. Like if you look at Instantly right now, Instantly is a combination of like 5 or 6 different softwares. But when we first started cold emailing, we would have to pay $100 for this software, $100 for the sequencer, and $100 for the Unibox. But over time, these companies are now starting to build more and more things so you can actually pick one software and actually live in it and only pay one subscription fee. So as time moves on and people get better at cold email, technology gets better to make it easier, signal-based sending becomes an absolute necessity and default. Right now, currently, a lot of people are not doing intent-based sending. They're just taking huge lists and sending it in bulk. And because cold email is so effective, they're still making money on pennies on the dollar. Now, as we move forward, figuring out distress signals, figuring out who is a true ICP, and creating customized copy is truly going to win. Because imagine if more and more people do cold email, and I apologize for making more cold emailers from this training, is that you're going to need to be better. You're going to need to be specific, and you need to differentiate yourself. Now think about wholesaling real estate. When people first started doing SMS campaigns, they were sending tens of thousands of text messages per day, and nobody was receiving text messages like that, so they were just locking up deals left and right. But now it's so oversaturated. People are texting everybody. There's tech TCPA violations. People are getting sued left and right. Cold email will become oversaturated eventually because people are starting to catch on. Now, the biggest thing is, how do you stay ahead of everybody else, all the average investors? Is learning how to do this, building the right infrastructure, writing the right copy, using Spintax, being advanced and learning this skill and becoming a master. Okay, and number 6, this is the worst one, is ESPs are going to eventually block bulk sending. So right now we are all using email sequencers, sending tens of thousands of emails at a time. Eventually we're going to have to manually use individual mailboxes, but thank goodness we have AI, and someone's probably out there thinking about this and building it as we speak. Now, if you think cold email is dying, this literally happened 2 days ago in August 24th. Iman Ghazi acquired a $45 million stake in AI-powered cold email platform called ListKit. Now, if you think cold email is dying, why would one of the most influential influencers and business owners that owns multiple companies like WAP, Consulting.com, buy a massive cold email company? Next, we have Alex Ramosi, who literally tells people that they need to start learning cold email marketing first. This is not going to die, guys. Cold email is going to grow in the next 10 years, and some of the biggest influencers and business owners are still talking about it and bullish on it and investing more time and more money into it. But at the end of the day, guys, what doesn't change is having a clean infrastructure, building everything the right way, having the right list, and creating an offer that speaks to that list specifically so you can provide value. Every prediction on the last slide was about tooling, but none of it touches the actual 3 pillars that we talked about in today's course. And in 10 years, all of the softwares and tools that we're currently using are going to be completely unrecognizable. But what's going to be exactly the same is the 3 pillars, the systems that we taught you today. And guys, if you want free resources, if you want all the Spark notes, join the free school community right here. This is school.com/newbreed. Tons of free resources inside here. And guys, if you guys enjoyed this training, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys at the next one.